Hey guys, today I want to bring you 5 decks to try in Alterac Valley, since when I streamed after the nerfs, a lot of people have asked me, Bunny, what is the deck that I can play now that Thief Rogue has been nerfed and is no longer dominating the meta? So I'm talking Alterac decks, post Gnoll nerf, post Scabs nerf, Flow, and also Cloak of Shadows. Um, yeah, I put together 5 decks that are for different kind of metas depending on what you are going to face on the ladder. You can pick one of those 5 decks and you should be able to have some success. I'll talk about the upsides and downsides, a little bit why I like them. And the good part is I'm also going to bring out a guide for every one of those decks if I haven't already. So stay tuned for the rest of this. But now let's dive right into the 5 decks that I personally enjoy and I can recommend as good decks to play after the nerfs. And we're going to be starting with Quest Shaman. Quest Shaman is a good deck if you face a lot of aggro. It's good against aggro Druid and Face Hunter. Also has the nice upside that it beats Control Warrior, which you don't see too much of in the meta. But it also has a good win rate against Ramp Druid, and it does fairly okay against Libram Paladin as well. On the downside, Quest Warlock, Garrot Rogue, and Weapon Rogue are a little bit of a problem. Quest Warlock because they make two big boards, and then you have Garrot and Mozaki, Garrot Rogue and Mozaki Mage because they OTK you too quickly before you can pressure them, and you being able to win back the board after you played the quest is useless because they just kill you from hand. The only card that I don't run as a 2 of in my current list is Frostbite. Frostbite is a nice little card to interrupt OTK turns and maybe set them back a turn, be able to buy yourself a little bit more time before your opponent can go and OTK you from hand. I can recommend you to switch this out for a Canal Slugger, or if you're a cookie lover, also Cookie the Cook, and you'll make your deck a lot better against aggressive decks like Face Hunter and Aggro Druid. If you're facing a lot of those on ladder, it'll help you to stabilize a lot more against those kind of burn decks. That being Face Hunter, Aggro Druid, of course, you still have to win board with Perpetual Flame. But you know what happens if we have now a lot of Quest Shamans on ladder? And if we have a lot of Quest Shamans on ladder, we can go and play Quest Warlock. Quest Warlock, good against Aggro and Ramp Druid because of the big board clears and Giants, as well as Libram Paladin and Control Warrior, and Quest Shaman as I just mentioned. But with the addition of Showstopper, we can also be good against Freeze Shaman, as well as slightly improving our matchup against Libram Paladin. Freeze Shaman will usually try to stall your big boards of giants by just freezing them over and over again and assembling their OTK combo. But with Showstopper, you just kill it off yourself, go face with the giants, and win the game. Quest Warlock itself still has the downside of being bad against OTK decks, Garrot Rogue, and Mozaki Mage. It's also now worse against Face Hunter, something that Quest Shaman didn't have, and against Weapon Rogue because they're just too aggressive. But it's a very good deck for grabbing the board, playing big boards, and if you face a lot of the decks in the plus category, you'll have a lot of fun and a very successful time with these decks on ladder. Next up, the first two decks you notice how they were not that great against Weapon Rogue, specifically, and also not against Garrot Rogue. And Beast Druid is a deck that has done increasingly well since the nerfs against those decks. So, especially with Scabs being nerfed to 8 mana, they have a lot less time for stabilizing, and they didn't only have to solve until turn 7, but now turn 8, and that extra 10 often helps you to be able to kill them. So Beast Druid, if you like aggro decks, Beast Druid is the one deck that I can now totally recommend to you. I think it's a lot more interesting, a lot more fun than Face Hunter, and I think also the power level is higher, so everything you need. If you're an aggro player, I think Beast Druid is really the deck that I can recommend. Also has a lot of game against most decks just because of how many times you can reload with this deck and how crazy turns you can produce. Beast Druid is good against Weapon Rogue, as I said. Other aggro decks, especially Face Hunter, but also good against Ramp Druid and Libram Paladin, as these are a little bit too slow. The downsides of Beast Druid are Quest Shaman and Quest Warlock, as they like to control the board a little bit too much, as well as Miracle Priest with Xerella clears and insurmountable boards, as well as Control Warrior. And I want to get into one of the decks that is good against Beast Druid, as I think Control Warrior is not that playable, but Miracle Priest is a very, very interesting deck to play, and I want to highlight this one as well. It does well against the Beast Druid. It also does well against Fell Demon Hunter that you might see every once in a while, because they counter other aggro decks. It's also good against Face Hunter just because you have so much heal with Gift of the Naru and Renew and Desperate Prayer. You're often able to outlast the Face Hunter and build a big board. Also against Ramp Druid, you usually make really, really big boards on turn 4, 5, 6, 7. That is usually before they can play Yogg. And even if they play Yogg, they might not be able to clear your whole board, depending on the outcome. Miracle Priest, again, has a problem of OTK decks, OTK Shaman. They freeze your board for too long. Mozaki Mage just kills you from hand. And then Shadow Priest has a combination of neophytes that stall out your game very heavily, together with some very efficient early board pressure. So those are the downsides. And then last but not least, I want to bring you one more deck, which is a personal new favorite. The only really truly new deck on this list, all the 4 ones I've shown you so far, are decks that we've played in some form in Alterac Valley before. But the last deck truly hasn't been popular, and the last deck is Ping Mage. Ping Mage, big plus is it beats Priest. Especially due to this card, Mass Polymorph. As you can see, Mass Polymorph transforms the entire opponent's board into sheeps. Priest builds one huge board, and you just say meh. And everything else is just a bonus. So if you like to bully Priest, this is a really good deck for you to play. It even does well against some more control-ish Death Rattle Priests too. I've personally also have good experience with it against Face Hunter. I'm 5-2 on ladder against Face Hunter. I've climbed it to rank 39, but I'm trying to climb it a little bit more on the EU Legend ladder. And I'm going to have a guide coming out this week. So for Quest Warlock and Ping Mage, we'll have a guide coming out this week. And for Quest Shaman, we already have one. I'll link that in the description. And for Miracle Priest, also feel free to check out Meaty's really short guide that I'll also link in the description. So if you don't want to miss the 2 guides on Ping Mage and Quest Warlock and would like to see more videos, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like to the video and also subscribe to the channel so that I can make more of these videos and give you more guides that are now coming out this week. Thank you guys for watching and have a good day.